Many consider Terence Crawford unbeatable, but when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, the experts aren't so sure. In fact, many believe Crawford is taking on a challenge he simply can't win. Sean Porter, who has faced the best in the ring, has serious doubts about Crawford's chances against Canelo. He knows firsthand what it takes, and he's not convinced Crawford can handle it.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of steam. But
ERS breakdown reveals a key factor: size and power. Canelo's punches aren't just heavy, they're fight-changing, capable of turning the tide in an instant. If Crawford struggles with Canelo's early onslaught, surviving 12 rounds becomes nearly impossible. Canelo's strategy will likely focus on overwhelming Crawford before fatigue sets in, making the challenge even tougher. Edgar Berlanga, who has faced some of boxing's hardest hitters, knows the power it takes to dominate. When asked about Canelo versus Crawford, his reasoning for favoring the Mexican superstar was simple yet revealing. Canelo's size, strength, and relentless pressure could be too much to handle.
What do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, his weight.
Yeah.
Berlanga's point highlights a major concern for Crawford: size and physicality. Canelo is naturally built for higher weight classes, making his punches heavier and his ring presence more imposing. As Crawford moves up, he's stepping into uncharted territory against a fighter who excels at breaking opponents down with relentless power and size advantages. Coach Joel Diaz, a seasoned trainer who has worked with world champions and analyzed elite matchups, isn't convinced by the narrative being sold to fans. When it comes to Crawford facing Canelo, Diaz doesn't hold back. He questions whether Crawford can truly handle the jump in weight and power, making it clear that in this showdown the odds heavily favor Canelo.
They want to give Crawford millions of dollars, right? But don't try to come and try to fool me, telling me that Crawford can beat Canelo. There is no way. There is no way that Crawford can beat Canelo.
Diaz's skepticism isn't just about hype, it's about reality. Canelo is a battle-tested fighter, used to trading blows with naturally bigger, stronger opponents, while Crawford is supremely skilled. Stepping up against a powerhouse like Canelo presents a monumental challenge. The physical gap, combined with Canelo's elite fight IQ and experience at higher weights, makes Diaz's stance clear. This is a battle Crawford may simply not survive. Eddie Hearn, one of boxing's top promoters, understands how the business side shapes decisions. While many pros believe Canelo will dominate Crawford, Hearn raises a different point. Canelo might not even be motivated to take the fight. And his reasoning? It hits just as hard as Canelo's punches.
I don't think it's a fight Canelo really wants, if I'm honest, because I think he feels like he won't get a lot of credit beating a light middleweight.
Hearn's point exposes the reality of boxing expectations. Even if Canelo dismantles Crawford, critics may downplay the win, arguing Crawford is simply too small. Surprisingly, Canelo himself shares this belief, questioning whether the fight would truly earn him the credit he deserves.
How do you feel about that?
Everybody wants to fight me. Everybody calling me out and everything. And, like I say, I have nothing to win with Crawford. 2-3 weights plus less than me.
That doesn't change the fact that Canelo would likely unleash his full arsenal, aiming to dominate from the opening bell. For Crawford, this fight isn't just about overcoming a size disadvantage. It's about proving he belongs in the ring. With a seasoned powerhouse like Canelo Teofimo Lopez, known for his bold takes and sharp boxing IQ, didn't hold back when breaking down how Canelo would dismantle Crawford. Lopez believes Canelo's sheer physicality and vast experience at higher weight classes will be the ultimate game changers in this matchup.
Decision or stoppage? they fight in May, Canelo and Crawford?
Decision or
And why does Canelo beat him? Before you get
Listen, we can have the skills and everything, but jumping that much like that, jumping like that much, getting hit. I don't think Crawford's ever fought a fighter that's hit him directly, just straight, constantly in the arms. And it's not because they can't. They don't think that way.
appreciate you.
Remember, this man's been pro since what, 14?
15.
15.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a big difference.
Lopez highlights a challenge Crawford has never truly faced, an opponent who applies relentless pressure and delivers punishing shots, targeting the body as well as the head, breaking opponents down over the course of a grueling fight. Canelo's strategy of breaking opponents down with relentless body and arm shots is a nightmare for smaller fighters. With years of elite experience and devastating power, Canelo could push Crawford's defensive sharpness to its breaking point. Teofimo Lopez didn't stop there. He took it a step further with a bold prediction. Lopez's statement is bold, but he firmly believes Canelo's power and experience will overwhelm Crawford. Meanwhile, former world champion Danny Garcia, known for his keen eye on tough matchups, issued a strong warning to Crawford. Stepping into the ring with Canelo is a risk that shouldn't be taken lightly.
What round does Crawford get knocked out? I'm gonna put 8. Let's put it on the universe. So I'm gonna put it on 8. 8. And if it goes the other way, I 8. I 8. So yeah, Ryan, Joe, and Eddie Reynoso also. That'd be cool, man. We all get work. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have our own underground boxing, me and Ryan, before we fight.
Garcia's warning underscores a harsh reality. Canelo's dominance at 168 pounds presents a daunting challenge, even for a fighter as skilled as Crawford. While this matchup could define Crawford's legacy, the sheer physical gap may be too much to overcome. Keith Thurman, a former champion and one of boxing's sharpest minds, knows exactly what it takes to win high-stakes fights. But when it comes to Canelo versus Crawford, Thurman isn't just concerned about the fight itself. He's focused on everything that must fall perfectly into place for Crawford to have a real chance. Against a powerhouse like Canelo, even the smallest misstep could prove costly.
At the end of the day, they're two great top-of-pound fighters, and if they feel like it makes sense and they want to fight each other, stylistically, it's a great fight. But Canelo, he's a big dude. I think it'd be hard for anyone to beat him at 168. But it's definitely a big money fight, and that's why we're all in boxing. To make the biggest fights.
Thurman paints a vivid picture of just how difficult this fight will be for Crawford. He won't just need skill, he'll have to push himself to the absolute limit, both physically and mentally. Yet, even with Crawford's undeniable talent, Canelo's overwhelming size, power, and experience at higher weights make this challenge seem nearly impossible to overcome. Every inch of Crawford's preparation and effort is already stacked against him, and with Canelo's relentless pressure and precision, the difference between victory and a painful reality check could be razor thin. Roy Jones Jr., a boxing legend, with deep insight into the sport, understands exactly how Canelo fights. While many focus on the weight advantage, Jones shifts the conversation to something even more crucial: Canelo's fight strategy. For Jones, it's not just about size. It's about how Canelo controls the tempo and takes charge from the opening bell.
I don't want to say it's impossible for my boy Crawford, but it's one of those things where he really wants to win against Canelo. He's going to need to do everything. You're going to need to run uphill. You're going to need to train in high altitude. You're going to need to do every little thing that gives you that, athletic edge and lots of pre-fight meditating. You know, you got to see victory before the victory manifests.
Jones is clear. Canelo's approach will define the outcome. If he sticks to his strengths using his power and relentless pressure, Crawford could be overwhelmed. However, if Canelo gets too fancy or overthinks the fight, Crawford's slick. Skills and adaptability might create an opening. The real question is whether Canelo will stick to what he knows works, or if Crawford's sharp counterpunching will push him into unfamiliar territory. Chino Rivas, a seasoned boxing expert, doesn't mince words when discussing Crawford's potential move to 168 pounds to face Canelo. He understands the stakes, both financially and physically, and has a clear message for Crawford. This isn't just another fight. It's a brutal test that could either cement his greatness or expose his limitations.
The weight won't be the factor. The factor will be how Canelo chooses to make the fight. Canelo comes out and does what Canelo should do, Canelo wins the fight. Canelo comes out and does what he shouldn't do, Crawford wins the fight.
Rivas's warning highlights the daunting challenge Crawford would face against Canelo at 168 pounds. This isn't just about money. It's about survival. While a fight with Charlo at 154 might be more manageable, stepping into the ring with Canelo at super middleweight is an entirely different beast. Rivas believes Crawford must carefully weigh the risks before chasing a payday that could cost him more than he bargained for. Caron Davis, who has trained alongside both Canelo and Crawford, brings a unique perspective to this potential matchup. He knows firsthand what it takes to compete against someone with Canelo's power and size. While Crawford's skill set is undeniable, Davis doesn't believe this will be an easy fight for him. No matter how sharp Crawford is, overcoming Canelo's physicality and relentless style will be a massive challenge.
Canelo's just too big, and he's just a different animal. Leave the Canelo for the big boys like the David Benavidez, Don Morel, all the others, coming in that weight class. People, and Crawford smart enough to understand, even though it's a payday, just leave that alone. I mean, unless they talk about that, they guarantee him $15 million. Well, and then it's a business aspect as well. But other than that, I think he shouldn't. I prefer to see him fight Charlo at 54 instead of Canelo.
Davis respects Crawford's talent, but his biggest concern is the size and power advantage Canelo holds at 168. While Crawford's skill might keep him competitive, the sheer strength and experience Canelo has at this weight could be overwhelming. In Davis's eyes, the fight favors the man who can impose his will physically, and that's Canelo. Robert Garcia, a highly respected trainer with years of experience, doesn't make bold claims without solid reasoning. When breaking down Canelo, there's Crawford. Garcia focuses not just on raw talent, but on the strategic elements that could shift the fight in Canelo's favor. His analysis highlights the key advantages that make Canelo the likely winner.
Everybody knows that Crawford got the skills. I do think that Canelo's a little big for Crawford. It'll be a tall task for him to win. It'll be a lot. It'll be a lot to get that victory based on size alone. Not that size win fights, but you got a guy that got size and skill. It'll be hard. I mean, nothing's impossible. But if I had my money on somebody winning the fight, it'll be Canelo Alvarez. Terence Crawford is a great fighter.
Garcia's analysis is clear. Canelo's size and strength could wear down Crawford over 12 rounds. While Crawford is an exceptional boxer, Canelo's relentless pressure and ability to adapt make him the more likely fighter to dominate throughout the fight. Garcia predicts a decision win for Canelo, believing his well-rounded skill set allows him to impose his will without necessarily needing a knockout. Stephen A. Smith, known for his sharp and often blunt sports analysis, weighs in on the potential showdown between Canelo and Crawford. His focus is clear. While Crawford has undeniable skill, it's Canelo's power that could be the defining factor in this matchup. Smith recognizes that skill alone might not be enough when facing an opponent who thrives on breaking fighters down with strength, precision, and relentless aggression.
Robert, what's a smart bet on Crawford-Canelo? Canelo by knockout or Canelo by decision?
Crawford by decision. And you have to bet?
Yes.
I say Canelo by decision. I've always been saying, I think Canelo at the end, obviously, his strength, his weight,
experience,
everybody takes over.
Smith highlights a major concern for Crawford. Without the power to hurt Canelo, his superior boxing skills might not be enough to keep the relentless Mexican powerhouse at bay. Canelo's aggressive pursuit, especially when he senses weakness, could quickly overwhelm Crawford. While Stephen A. Smith acknowledges Crawford's ability to outbox Canelo, he ultimately believes that Canelo's power and relentless pressure could be Crawford's downfall. If Crawford can't keep Canelo off him, it's only a matter of time before the Mexican star lands a fight-ending shot. Ryan Garcia, a rising star in the boxing world, understands the magnitude of high-stakes matchups. His perspective on a potential Canelo versus Crawford fight reflects his deep understanding of what it takes to compete at the highest level. While Garcia respects both fighters' abilities, he recognizes the undeniable advantage Canelo holds in terms of size, strength, and experience at higher weight classes, making him a serious threat to Crawford's chances.
My concern is that he won't hurt Canelo. And if he doesn't hurt Canelo and can't hurt Canelo, then Canelo keeps coming. Similar to how he stalked Charlo, how he stalked, once he had Plant hurt, he chased after him. Canelo is a very powerful individual who can get exposed by a boxer because every shot he throws, he's trying to make it a power shot. But to me, can Crawford hurt him? I would pick Crawford to win if he can box and stay away. I don't believe he can hurt Canelo. If Canelo catches him, it could be trouble.
Garcia's assessment boils down to one critical factor: size and strength. While Crawford's skill is undeniable, Garcia believes that Canelo's sheer physicality would ultimately be too much for him to handle. For Garcia, this fight isn't about tactics or technical mastery. It's about the raw power and brute force that Canelo brings to the ring. He sees this as a major challenge for Crawford, one that skill alone may not be enough to overcome. Despite the excitement surrounding the potential matchup, Garcia views Canelo as the clear favorite due to these overwhelming physical advantages. Adonis Wilkins provides a sharp breakdown of the Canelo versus Crawford fight, emphasizing a key issue that could spell trouble for Crawford: the weight disparity. While Crawford has shown dominance at 154 lbs, stepping up 2 full weight classes to face a fighter like Canelo at 168 presents an entirely new challenge. Wilkins doesn't sugarcoat his analysis. He believes that Canelo's size, strength, and relentless power could neutralize Crawford's usual advantages in skill and adaptability.
What about Canelo and Crawford? What do you think?
That's going to be a great fight, too. I can't believe they made that happen. The Turkey's been making a lot of great fights happen. You can't really hate on it. But I'm excited for that. I know Canelo is so big, so strong, and I think he'll be just too big. I mean, weight classes matter for a reason.
Wilkins underscores the immense challenge Crawford would face at 168 lbs, highlighting how the weight jump could diminish his usual advantages. While Crawford is an exceptionally skilled boxer, Wilkins argues that his power and speed would likely be compromised against a fighter of Canelo's caliber. Even with Crawford's technical brilliance, the raw power, aggression, and relentless pressure of Canelo could make it nearly impossible for him to dictate the fight. Canelo has a proven ability to exploit weaknesses, and against a naturally smaller opponent, that could be devastating. Wilkins confidently predicts a Canelo victory, believing that the Mexican superstar's overwhelming physicality, especially having moved down from 175, would neutralize Crawford's skill, making it a grueling battle for the challenger. Dennis Thompson Jr. offers his perspective on the potential showdown, drawing from Canelo's experience of successfully moving up in weight. He believes Canelo's physicality and ability to adapt at higher weight classes will give him a distinct edge over Crawford, particularly in terms of stamina, endurance, and punching power.
Man, if paperwork gets signed up, finished, if Crawford can get him to come down some weight,
It's going to be at 68.
that's a bad look for Crawford. I love Crawford, dog. I think he's real talented, but you see him at 154 going up in weight class. He kind of struggled. He didn't struggle, but that weight was definitely a difference. To go up another 2 weight classes after that, we're going to see a lot slower Terence Crawford. Yeah, his boxing ability is there, but Crawford don't hit like Canelo. Canelo's coming down for that fight. It's gonna be rough.
Thompson emphasizes Canelo's remarkable ability to transition to higher weight classes, noting how he has dominated opponents at 168 lbs and beyond. His successful adaptation to heavier divisions proves his ability to impose himself physically, using a mix of power and relentless pressure to wear down even elite opponents. Against Crawford, who would be stepping up in weight, Thompson suggests that this physical disparity could be the deciding factor. While Crawford is known for his speed and technical skill, maintaining those attributes against Canelo's size and relentless attack over 12 rounds could prove to be an uphill battle. Thompson believes Canelo's history of systematically breaking down opponents will likely result in Crawford struggling to sustain his usual sharpness, ultimately wearing down as the fight progresses. Showbiz the adult, known for his bold boxing takes, doesn't hold back when analyzing Canelo versus Crawford. He points out a crucial factor: the weight difference and Canelo's sheer physical advantage over Crawford.
So I think coming up September, we got Canelo Alvarez, we got Terence Crawford. What's your thoughts?
I think I take Canelo. I feel like I ain't really like Bud performance when he moved up the first time, and I feel like Canelo might end up breaking him down. The difference is, well, we fighting bigger guys. They be much stronger and too, they coming down from a higher weight originally. So it'd be that. They punches be a little stronger, and you moving up, you might feel a little sluggish. You might not be at your same speed and stuff like that. You might be a little.
Hey, listen, dog. Crawford fans, I've been trying to say this, dog. Canelo at 168 is all wrong for Crawford, dog. he ain't gonna do what he did. He's gonna absorb Crawford's shots. He's gonna catch and shoot, and he's gonna rip some shit. He's gonna cut off the ring. He's gonna even counter. He got faster hands than you expect. Canelo hands faster than Madrimov. Brother, you think he was strong at 150, and Madrimov was strong at 154. Canelo at 160 is diabolical, dog.
According to Showbiz the adult, Crawford's usual strategy of relying on speed, footwork, and slick counterpunching might not be as effective against Canelo's superior strength and skill at 168 lbs. He believes that Canelo's faster hands, exceptional ring-cutting ability, and relentless pressure will eventually overwhelm Crawford, leading to a decisive victory. With Canelo's proven punching power and vast experience at higher weights, the longer the fight goes, the tougher it will be for Crawford to withstand the punishment. As experts weigh in, one thing is becoming increasingly clear: Canelo's size, strength, and relentless approach could simply be too much for Crawford to overcome at 168 lbs. From seasoned trainers to former world champions, the consensus remains the same. Crawford's skill and adaptability are undeniable, but the physical gap between him and Canelo is a massive hurdle that can't be ignored. Canelo, a fighter who has thrived against top competition at these higher weights, presents a challenge unlike any Crawford has ever faced. The question now is whether Crawford can defy the odds and prove everyone wrong, or if Canelo will continue his reign as the dominant force in boxing. The answers will be settled in the ring, but one thing is certain: this is a fight that will have everyone talking. Share your thoughts in the comments below.